Hello out there, and welcome to the Dr. Elisa Show here on KUHS Denver, the stream. Oh, thank you for joining me. I have an amazing show for you today, if I do say so. In fact, it's going to be so fun. I think you should go get your neighbors and have them tune in to this show. And hopefully they do, because it's a wonderful station, and hopefully they listen to my show and other shows. How are you doing? Everyone take a deep breath and exhale and get like centered just a bit and focused. You know why? Because we're talking about love today. Let me do a shout out and a little bit of who I am before we get going. A shout out is to one of my great sponsors, veteranspride.org. They're an amazing organization that makes shadow boxes for veterans. And they're a little bit expensive, and many veterans can't afford them. But you can go to veteranspride.org and donate any amount of money. Feel like a philanthropist, because you are, and help a veteran feel a great deal of pride and be able to build respect in their family by showing this, having the shadow box that shows what they've done. So they're great. My other sponsor, guess what? My other sponsor is me. And yes, I know I've been hearing great things from so many of you. You can get in touch with me at my website, elisarobin.com, or elisarobin@msn.com, and schedule a session with me. I have soul sessions. We also can do 3 sessions in a row to work on branding or issues with money and career, or 3 sessions about love, which is what we're talking about today. You can also do an SOS session with me too, which is shorter. And so just go to my website. You can find them all there. And if that's not enough, you can find my books on Amazon. The Way of the Well is my spiritual romance. It's a bit of an adventure. It's really fun. And since we're talking about love and yes, sex, that's in there. But if you want something a little more practical, try Pirate Wisdom. I wrote it with a friend of mine who was my supervisor. She was a college chancellor, university college chancellor. And it's about dealing with politics at the workplace. It's an easy, quick read. You can get it on Amazon. And I am writing my second novel right now that, just so you know, because you're going to want to read it, has a vampire and an octopus who's in love with a horse and a crystal ball, and oh my gosh, wild, wild, wild. So anyway, that's who I am. Welcome. I know I've said this over and over again, but this show is for you. I love doing the show. I love being here. I want you to love the show. I want you to join me every other week and on the 3rd Monday of every month for the Crystal Ball Hour. But I'm hoping what I'm helping you do is move the needle in your life right now from fear to hope, from fear to joy, to remember that there's still an amazing life out there for you. That's what I'm hoping we're doing. And today we're going to do that by talking about love in the time of COVID. If you're interested, just so you know, I am on Facebook, and I am pulling up the KUHS radio site as we speak, and you will see if you go there that my show is live. And what that means is you can give me a thumbs up, you can give me a smiley face, you can comment, and I can see what you're doing. And I'm pulling it up, there we go. And hi Paul, thanks for joining me. And so if you want, you can stick a comment in there and let me know if you've had experiences like this, or ask me a question. This is not the psychic reading show, but you may have a question about love in the time of COVID. And hopefully today's show gives you some answers. Some that are funny and some that are serious. So I know it's more difficult to meet people right now, right? We're social distancing and we're masking, and we should be doing that because it works. It actually works. But there are still aspects of dating that we need to be aware of, that we can work on, and there are still ways to meet people. And I know a lot more people actually have turned to online dating. The numbers are kind of incredible. And I, just so you know, have been doing some research on that, which means I've explored some online dating sites. If you've been following my show, I think I've talked to you about dating before and how I'm off the sites. But I thought what I should do, since I was going to do this show, was check out some of the other ones and see what they focused on. And so that research, I think, has helped me build an idea of what works on and what doesn't work. Okay, now let's remember, I'm coming from the point of view of a woman looking for a man. But I think some of the things I'm going to talk about are universal issues, because I've talked to men looking for women. I have not talked to a lot of LGBTQ people about their searches, but I've talked to a few, and it does seem like we have universal issues on these sites. So to begin with, where do we start? Where do we start with love? And the first place that we start is knowing ourselves. We got to do that. Who are you? Women have a tendency to try to be chameleons, right? Like, he's a nice guy and he's cute and he's okay, everything. I could be the person he wants to be in love with. And that's the wrong way to come at things. Always. You've always got to start with who you are. Knowing yourself. And I have tons of friends who are coaches who help women specifically, but also work with men on finding their inner image and walking in their own sense of self without apology or fear. And if you want some of those references, I can stick them in the Facebook site later. But one of my friends, Delea Diana, you can find her on Facebook. She does something called Inner Image Quest, and it's about finding that inner image for yourself. Who are you? Be proud of that. And if you're having trouble being proud of that, that's where you start. Because the interesting thing is, somebody in love with you is lovely and helpful, but that happens when we know who we are first, and we know what we want first, and we know what we stand for and what we believe in first. Now, it doesn't mean we don't change in relationships. It doesn't mean we don't give and take. It doesn't mean that we don't learn from the other person and maybe make different decisions about our life. All of that is lovely. But when we make those decisions from a place of knowing who we are, then they're the right decisions. They're the right changes, the right choices. So who you are now also might be different than who you were. So lots of people have an easier time when they're younger. So if you're doing the online stuff, the 20 into the 30-year-olds seem to have an easier time with it. And even in the time of COVID, right, there are still other ways. This is an age group that's more active. But some of what I'm going to say is still true, so hang in there. But if you're in some of the older groups, it's often more difficult. And you may have had a relationship or two. Maybe you're divorced. Maybe you're a widow or widower. And you know what? Who you were when you looked for love when you were young, it's not who you are now. And the relationship that you adored, that you lost, yeah, you can't have that one back. You might have to change who you are to have that kind of relationship, but you also can't just go find that. I have met men who have lost the love of their life. They're widowers, and they're looking for someone who is her, and trust me, I'm not her, to fit in, to go on those trips, to do those things, so that his life can go on. And I got to tell you guys, and this is a guy thing, it's definitely a guy thing, women seem to take a little longer to get over a heartbreak. We just do. I have met guys who have told me the love of their life, who they were with for 25 years, passed 6 months ago. 6 months. But they're over it, and they're ready to move on. But they're looking for her in me, and I'm not her, and that's sort of a given. That's just how that goes. Give yourself time. Because you know what? You might have changed. The same way, have you ever noticed when we change seasons and you wear different items of clothing, you with that new season you feel different. Well, when you come out of a relationship, you come into a new season. Let that person grow. Let that piece of you expand. And then find the relationship that matches that person, that works there. And be willing to create a life with that person. So I'll give you some examples. Now, everything I'm going to tell you is absolutely true. All the names have been changed. And I need to tell you that most of the men I have met online are really good men. Good men. We just didn't click. And click is really important to me. That chemistry is really, really important to me. But they're good men. So when I talk about some of these other experiences I've had, I'm not even saying they weren't good men. I'm just telling you these are interesting experiences. If you love golf, then there might be a dating site for golfers. But don't expect me to go golfing with you. Tried it, didn't like it, not going to do it again, right? Who are you and what is important? That's where you have to start. So we have to start with this sort of self-love and self-confidence and taking responsibility for our life, our dreams. What is it you want to do next? Do you know the secret that keeps people together? Okay, so a lot of people stay together for the wrong reasons. But good relationships, people have shared dreams and they have personal dreams. They have those two things. So there's a dream of what they're doing as a couple, and there's a dream of each person has their own dream, what they're doing as an individual. And they can support the individual dream and they can work together on the shared dream. So start with your personal dreams. What is it you want? Where is it you want to grow? And I have to say, if you're just completely satisfied with your life and nothing ever needs to change, you may have Taurus in your chart if that's true, then look for somebody like that. Because that's okay. But remember, you have to know who you are first. So you know who you're inviting into your life and who you're meeting. When we start focusing on our life vision, and honestly, you might want to work with an astrologer or a counselor or a coach on this. Because sometimes we need to heal our baggage before we go forward. We need to know who we were and where we were wounded, and especially women, because our hearts get wounded so much. Where are you wounded and where do you want to go forward? That's like step one in finding a relationship. I'm actually going to have a guest on, I hope, in a month perhaps, who's a woman who, that's what she does. She's a love coach. And it's very exciting. And I'll hopefully get her, and then I'll announce when she's going to be on. But she talks about having genuine life experiences for yourself, about the way that we have authentic connections is about having an authentic relationship with ourselves. And let me say that when you have those, you're also tuned in to your own intuition. And you gotta listen to that. Your intuition is huge when you're meeting somebody. Because, right? And I'm sure you've all done this. You've walked into a room and you're immediately attracted to one person and immediately don't want to talk to somebody else. Trust me, that happens. It's real. You need to listen to it. You also need to listen to that reaction if you're reading somebody's profile online and something doesn't feel right. And I'm going to get into that in a minute because you might be noticing there's a scammer out there, and trust me, they are out there. So it's that first, and absolutely, that first piece of yourself is what's important, and absolutely, all of us could use a little help sometimes. A best friend who points out to us where we need to shift, where we're not honoring ourselves. So that's my huge step one. You, respect yourself. Okay, step two. Now that you know who you are, be honest, especially on these dating sites. Oh my gosh. So like, for example, if you're posting a picture, which the dating sites I'll ask you to post a picture, make it halfway recent. If I walk into the room, if I say I'm going to meet you and I've seen your picture and I walk into the room and I can't find you because you don't look anything like that, that's not going to work, right? I already know you've lied. I already know you have self-esteem issues. If you've gained 100 pounds, post that picture. If you've whatever has happened to you between now and 20 years ago, post a current picture. All of us, I think, have that response. We're online, we're looking, and all the pictures are 10 years old, and we're thinking, well, what have you done for the last 10 years? You've been afraid of cameras? What's going on? Post a current picture. And trust me, I have walked into a room and the person gained 100 pounds, okay? Don't post a picture of somebody else. And this sounds really stupid, but I need you to know that there are tracking devices. We can figure that out, and we can know you're scamming. If every picture you post is of a model, I mean, you look like you're a model, and you look like you're 15 years younger, that we know you might be scamming. If all the pictures you post are of people, like men posting pictures of women, or women posting pictures of men, or you're posting pictures of sunsets, that's fascinating, and we have no idea who you are or what you want. So post some pictures of yourself as who you are. Now, you might want to get cleaned up for those pictures. That's completely possible. And remember that what you're doing in that picture, he sends a message. So I have seen pictures of guys, because the only ones I can see are of guys, and they're, in every single picture, they're holding a drink. That's all I ever see them doing, is holding a drink. And I wonder, like, I wonder why you're always holding a drink. So there's a message that you're giving, okay? Don't lie. The other thing about being honest on these sites, I have to say this. So guys, again, I'm talking to you, but I'm sure women do this. If what you want is sex, and we know you want sex because you're a guy, we got it. I'm going to come back to that in more detail later. But if all you want is sex, then at least put that in the site. Don't bait and switch. I have met too many guys who've said they want a long-term relationship, and what they want is to get laid. And then they just want to get laid once. And then they don't want to see someone again. And when I'm savvy to that, they don't want to see me again. And I have to say that while I'm not going to pick you off a site, if you say, I want something casual, I'd like good sex and good food, I'm not going to pick you. Somebody will. And whoever does is going to want good sex and good food. And so be honest. Just be honest. It's very helpful, okay? Be honest with who you are and pick the right site. Here's another thing. So here are just some stories. I met somebody for a date, and it was a first date, and it was a guy, and he seemed pretty nice and was okay, and had a full beard and mustache, nice guy. And then I got an email asking me for like a second date that was a trip away in the mountains to a cabin somewhere. Don't do that. No woman in her right mind is going to have a second date that involves your car out of cell service, far away, on a weekend. It's not going to happen. So I told him that. And he was very nice about it and said I would have been a perfect gentleman. Okay. His reasoning for that came clear later. And then he asked me for coffee for a second date, and I met him. And he revealed to me in the second date, at some point he said, you know, I have a feminine side, which could be anything, right? That could be he liked to cook. Well, this was, he had a feminine persona. He had an entire, so there was dude and there was dudette. And dudette had a complete outfit and a Facebook page and traveled. And he talked about how we might go out, and I might go out with dude, and then dudette would just show up, and he'd have to go change clothes and be dudette. And while I have no judgment on that, he needed to be on a different dating site. Because you know where my mind went, I have to tell you. He was talking about, how about if we go off together for a weekend somewhere warm, and you know, I'll pack my wardrobe for both of me. And this is where my mind went, right? So I travel with dude, I get there, we check in, and dudette shows up. And then I'm seen on the beach with dudette. Will they think I killed dude? Like, what happened to dude? And can I flirt with guys when I'm with dudette? Because I'm not gay. And you can see where my mind went. Hopefully you laughed. Could you guys click in the Facebook site if you laughed at that? And understand he's a nice guy. And he just needs to be honest with who he is and be on the right dating site. There are dating sites for hookups. There are dating sites for LGBTQ. There are dating sites for people who have high IQs. I mean, and of course everybody's on almost every dating site. It's pretty funny. But there is a dating site for you. Go there. Go there, because who you are is fine. Admit who you are, love who you are, and find the person who matches who you are. I have another story, almost just like that. First date, nice guy. We're talking, and he says, happened in the same coffee shop. I have to tell you, I think that coffee shop might not be a good place for me. He said, I have some baggage. Really? What baggage? We all have baggage, right? Like, I'm older, I have baggage. No, I have some baggage. Okay. He said, so, he had gotten divorced, I don't remember how many years ago, so let's say 7 years ago. And he goes, when I got divorced 7 years ago, I came out as gay. I just want that to sink in for a minute. I'm a woman looking for a guy on a dating site. I clicked woman looking for guy, and he tells me he's gay. And he says, but it hasn't worked out well. And so I wondered if maybe I should go back to women. At which point, I have to tell you, I was on my cell phone. I have an emergency text I can send. I have a code word, and if I send it, then my phone rings, and my girlfriends call me, and I can have a reason to get up and get out, because I didn't want to insult him, and he's a nice guy. He's a good guy. He needed to admit who he was, embrace who he was, and be on the right dating site. Because clearly, it wasn't me, right? Which is the other thing. Read what the person wrote, okay? Just read it. So my dating profile always says Jewish and astrology. And then at the very bottom, as probably part of a sociological study, I put something like, I love to close dance, and points if you like public displays of affection, PDA. And I get messages from guys who didn't notice the Jewish and didn't notice the astrology, but did notice the PDA, which means sex, I think, to guys. And in fact, let me just chat about that for a second. Well, let me get back to, first off, read the profile. Read the profile. If they say, and they're being honest, the most important thing in my life is golf, and you hate golf, don't try to hook up with them, okay? Just be honest. Don't be desperate. Be honest about who you are when you write your profile and you post your picture, and be honest about who you are when you respond to somebody. Okay, guys, do not do this. Do not post in your profile that your love language is touch. One, any woman who grew up in America knows, if we went to middle school, we got it. Your love language is touch, and that means sex. And we got it. We know you want sex. Don't bother telling us. By the way, that book, you're supposed to read that book and figure out your partner's love language and speak to that language. That's what that book's about. So yeah, so don't tell me your love language, and we know you want sex. We got it, right? We know that slow dancing means sex. We know PDA means sex. I think vanilla ice cream means sex. Oreo cookies mean sex. I'm not really sure why you think you have to tell us that. And if you tell us that, and then you say you want to date somebody 15 years younger than you, or 10, now you're getting scary. Now, again, be honest. But guys, why do you want to do that? What is that about? Are you thinking that a younger woman is going to be, what, more willing to let you run things? You have not noticed what's happening in America, if that's true, or around the world, if that's true. Are you thinking that older women don't like sex? Oh, what a fool you are. How very foolish you are. And in fact, I have to tell you the story. I was in New Mexico at an IAIA, Institute of American Indian art show. And I walk in, and there's this grandmother who cannot see very well, walking around looking at these photos on the wall. And I walk up to her and I say, "Can I help you?" And she's like, "Oh, yes." And I take her around and I show her the pictures, and I read the captions, and she gets up. She can hardly see, so she has her face very, very close to the pictures. And she turns to me after a while and she says, "What nation are you?" And I said, I'm not, I'm Jewish. And she said, "You have nation in it, what, are you sure?" And I said, my husband at the time, is Chiricahua. This is an old grandmother, right? And I say that to her. He was Chiricahua, and she stands up and she puts her hands on her heart and closes her eyes, takes a deep sigh, and goes, "Oh, those Apache men." She was thinking about sex. Don't think you need somebody younger. And if you do want somebody younger, make sure that you're ready for somebody who wants a retirement plan and health insurance, because that's what they want. I just haven't figured this out, guys. I have not figured out why you want to go out with somebody. I mean, make it make sense to you, right? When you were 20, they wouldn't have been legal. When you were in college, just make this work for a second. And I have had the guys who've said to me, like they're, 78, 80, and they've said, "I'm very healthy. I'm hardly on any medication, and my mother was younger than my dad, and they had a fairy tale relationship. I'm 65. I'm incredibly active, and I don't want that fairy tale. That fairy tale is past tense." Who are you? You're okay as who you are. You don't have to lie. You don't have to search. I mean, I'd love an answer to that. What is it with this, I want to date a woman 15 years younger than me? I have no idea why a guy 15 years younger than me would be interested in me, except I'm hot. I have to say that, because I am. What is it you're looking for? Now, I don't say that on my profile. Oh, here's the other thing. Please, do not tell me you're handsome. Women, don't say you're beautiful. Don't say you look younger than your age. You know why? I can see your picture. I can see your age. I will judge. What you're telling me is you're insecure. And that whole insecure thing, women, we have it in our hearts. We don't want our heart broken. And men, when I was in my 20s and 30s, all I heard about was fragile male egos. I hope that's not a thing anymore, because if they're that fragile, I don't know why you think you should be in charge of anything. Right? I mean, anyway, that's a different story. But are you? Are you fragile? Is your heart still broken? Heal that. Heal that before you go out. And then what? Okay, so your picture is good. Let's be a little open-minded about age, perhaps. Yes, be picky about, are they a good fit? But then you got to meet them. You got to meet them. And there's a lot of safe ways to meet people, and I'm going to give you some suggestions for virtual dates, actually in-person COVID-safe dates by astrological signs, so stay tuned. Oh, hey, if you just tuned in, guess where you are? The Dr. Lisa Show on KUH Denver, The Stream. And I'm talking about love and relationships and dating. And guess what? You can go to the Facebook site, do something, click I like you, or click, put a comment in there, anything. Just give me like a sense. I'm going to actually reboot the site and see if there's any other comments. No, come on, guys, chat with me. Just chat with me. I'm just checking it out. No. Okay, go to the Facebook site and chat with me. Tell me if you've had these experiences. Ask me questions. I have a PhD, remember, in psych. I'm good at this stuff. Okay. Chemistry happens in person, and you have to take that seriously. Guys, we know. You care what we look like? And again, if you're only interested in dating a woman who's 5'2", eyes of blue, whatever that old song was, or who's 5'9" and super thin and whatever, dark hair, if that's what you want, then at least you're being honest. Good luck finding it, but if that's what you want, be honest. Again, ask yourself why that's so important. But okay. But I will admit, okay, so here's self-exposure time. One of the guys I talked to, lovely man, again, lovely man, and we were talking about my love for big dogs. My Noof that I had was 150 pounds, and I'm on the hunt for another big dog that I can rescue. And he said, so does that cross over to men? And I said, wow, I never thought about that, but I do have a tendency to like kind of tall guys with big muscles. How interesting. He was also the guy who wanted me to basically take an SAT, a sexual aptitude test, to see if I was good enough in bed to have a relationship with. Nice guy, good man, not putting him down. And the site that we actually met on, I should have known it was a hookup site. But yeah, I don't do those SATs. He told me that men like that. They want to know if you're good in bed before they'll have a relationship with you. Don't do that either. Don't do that. Or do that and then at least pass a lot and give people high grades on their SATs. Okay, so you're finally going to meet somebody. Groom. I cannot say this enough. Groom, groom, groom. Look like you care. Guys, if your teeth are the color of a school bus, I'm not kissing you. If your beard looks like it could hold pieces of lunch, I'm not kissing you. It's not happening. Groom, even in the time of COVID. You can comb, you can brush, you can trim things that need to be trimmed. Put on a clean shirt. Really, a clean shirt's good. Try to look like you cared that you're meeting me. Women, the same thing. Don't show up drunk. Don't show up stoned. And if you told me to meet you at the wine bar, make sure you drink wine. If you asked me to meet you at the coffee place, don't show up with a juice drink and tell me you don't drink coffee. It's very confusing. I can just say it's very confusing. And yes, all those things happen to me. All those things. Look like you care, because chemistry matters. And that first impression is really, really important. So take some time. Take some time to groom. There are ways that we bait each other, and I'm going to ask you to not do that. Women, men and women. I want to talk to you for a minute, just from a place of caring. Everybody's heart can be broken. Everybody's ego can be shattered. Be kind. Be kind to one another, right? It's not hard. I've had guys on the dating site who saw that I liked big dogs and have sent me one guy did this, a 5-paragraph message about why no man would ever date me because I have a dog. Because a dog is like having a child that will never grow up. It'll never leave the home. And basically, he didn't want me paying attention to my dog instead of him. And I told him I love dogs, right? And guys, don't try this, guys. You may not understand this, but really, don't try this. Don't tell a woman to choose between you and the dog, because she's going to go out and buy dog biscuits, and you're going to have to go find another place to hang out. Don't ever, especially women who love big dogs, don't try it. It's bad. Women, probably the same thing, right? I mean, don't get between somebody and something they love. It doesn't work. If you don't love big dogs, meet somebody who has cats, or somebody who doesn't ever want to be burdened by an animal. Again, fine. Make sure you're there. Make sure you got it, right? And then just be kind. I had a guy who messaged me and said, his profile said must love motorcycles. I don't know why he messaged me. I messaged him back and said thank you for liking my profile. I'm not the person for you. I don't love motorcycles. He messaged me back and said, that's okay. I usually don't go out with ugly women, but in your case, I thought I'd give it a shot. Really? You had to insult me? Really? Don't do that. Don't be doing that. You know what it says? It says you're desperate. It says you can't understand that people like different things. And the person for you is out there, but not when you're desperate. And figure out that what we chase runs away from us. If you have a dog or a cat, you know this. Anytime you've tried to chase an animal, a horse, you go try to chase one of them, they run. It's fun. What we chase runs from us. We don't have to chase love. Seduction will always be more powerful than any form of aggressive pursuit. Invite people in. I had Matthew May on, remember, a couple weeks ago, and he talked about the power of subtraction and when we add to that the power of seduction. Why does that work? Because when we subtract anything that no longer serves us or works for us, we invite into our space, into our life, everything we truly desire. And that's seduction. And yeah, guys, I know you all just heard sex, but it's not always sex. because we know you. We know. We got it. And can I just say, it's kind of cute that you're always after sex. I mean, it's kind of cute, but you don't have to remind us because we know. Just saying. And somehow I don't think you want it to be cute. Did I say this one? So cute is when on a second date you offer me coconut oil and orgasms. Yeah, that's not. It's actually not cute. That was kind of disgusting. Also be aware that there's scammers out there online. And I just want to say this. This is why I want you to pay attention to your intuition. Because you'll tell. You'll know. Why? All the pictures are, they look like a model. There's no pictures of them doing anything. They always have a job. Well, the guys, every single time they've had a job, a career, they're an entrepreneur in some way that's kind of sounds exotic. As in, I might not know about it. Now, I've been lucky that in every single one of those cases, those careers have been in oil and gas or minerals. And I have a background as a geologist, and I ran oil rigs for 6 years, and I know how that stuff works. So when they tell me they're an entrepreneur, that they do this mineral thing or mining thing or whatever, the first thing I ask them for is their website. And in fact, if they say they're an entrepreneur, ask them, oh, cool, can I see your website? If they say they don't have one, if it's all word of mouth, say, well, great, what's your business name? Oh, everyone just knows me. Well, that's just not true. I'm sorry. And if they say they sell something to oil rigs, unless it's donuts, just don't believe them, right? If they don't have a website, if they don't work for a big company. And if they immediately start asking you not about sex, but about how big your house is or the cost of your car or anything to do with money, block them. They're scamming. They're scamming. And your gut will know. I had one before I went offline that looked completely legit, but for some reason I just kept feeling something was wrong. And then he mentioned the sort of oil and gas entrepreneur, and I asked for his website, and he disappeared. Listen to your intuition, because the scammers are out there. And I know it's hard. I know our hearts break. So reach out and to someone and work on that broken heart first. Now I will say, falling in love will heal your broken heart. It will almost always heal it. But if you walk in the world with a broken heart, you attract people to you with broken hearts, or people who might break yours again. And it's a lovely thought, isn't it, that we'll heal each other? It's a lovely thought, and sometimes you do. I've met a widow and a widower who connected, and they did heal each other. But you know what? They knew who they were. They knew what they wanted. They were okay with who they were first. And they were okay that each of them still missed something about their significant other who had passed. And I don't care what part of the spectrum you are on, that is true for humans. That is just true. So give yourself some time to heal. And if you still walk out there with a broken heart, okay. But acknowledge that and don't expect to heal immediately just because you've met someone else. Time does not heal all wounds, but it always takes time to heal. Just saying. Okay. Just curious, how are you doing out there? Anybody interested in chatting with me? Oh, come on. Really? Go onto Facebook, go onto KUHS Denver, and click like. Just look at my site and just click like. Now, I got to tell you why this is important, and we'll get back to love in a second. But next week, Monday at 2:30 is the Crystal Ball Hour. And for all of you that freaks out, yes. Remember, I came out on international radio as a professional astrologer and, yes, a channeler. And I answer questions on that show, live, free questions. I do crystal ball readings. And the only way that show works is if people ask questions. So I need you to get in the habit of being somewhere where you can just go to Facebook and click. Now, I know lots of us don't like Facebook. You just want to use it just for the radio. That's great. You can even message me. Instead of clicking, you can just go in and message me. There's, if I can find another way to get you to message me, I will, but that's how that show works. So you might want to practice now getting on the Facebook site and posting a message so you're ready on Monday at 2:30. Okay, back to love. How you doing? So here are just some fun suggestions. I want to talk a little astrology. Because, oh, and just in case you're wondering, I am off the sites. I leave my picture up on one site just occasionally out of curiosity with clues about how to find me because I'm not paying for the site. And a few guys find me, and they find my website, and they find the radio show, and that's lovely. But I'm not on any of the sites active because of everything I've just said. And yes, I'm still looking for love, but you know what? I want a love that leaves me breathless. And I just am not sure I'm going to find it there. Maybe I'll find it here, no telling. But I want a love that leaves me breathless, and I am not settling for less. And I don't want you to settle for less either. Okay, astrology. Let's take a move into that. And if you're just tuning in, you are with Dr. Lisa on KUHS Denver, the stream. And we have a bit of time here to talk about astrology and dating. Just a bit. I'll do a whole other show on it at some point. Okay. To begin with, when I talk astrology, I need you to know that astrology is complex. All of you know your sun sign. If you say, what are you? And you say, Leo, that's your sun sign. Well, there are 10 planets plus your ascendant and your north and south node and a few asteroids. You know one of those planets. Any of those planets can be in one of 12 signs and in one of 12 houses and next to or apart from or at a right angle to any of those other planets. And that's what an astrologer looks at. So when we say we're astrologers, we're not talking just about your sun sign. It might be the least important thing in your chart. Imagine you're a Leo and you have 5 planets, including the moon, in Cancer. And all of them are in the 7th house. You know what? Which is the house of relationships. Cancer is much more important in your life. That sign of Cancer. Heart, love, depth of feeling than Leo. That's the difference between an astrologer and a printout. Okay? That and we're more entertaining. We're more fun. And this one happens to have a PhD in psych. So, okay. So what might you do? I want to give you some suggestions because COVID is around and I want you to be safe. But there are ways to be safe, and you can do these by astrological sign. If you're in Aries, think about you want an adventure. Think about a mountain bike ride or just a long distance ride. Bring your own bikes, meet at the trailhead, bring your own water and some food for the halfway point, and go. Taurus, do something sensual. Each of you could bring chocolate desserts and maybe share like recipes and maybe go walk in a garden and smell the flowers and see the beauty. Sensual. That's what Taurus loves. Gemini, you like to chat. You love to chat. And Gemini, we love you and we love how you chat. That was not an insult. So you've got to be somewhere where you can chat and eat. So think about an outdoor picnic, perhaps, or a walk where you're far enough away from each other. Either with your masks on, you can talk, or maybe you're far enough away from each other that you can chat up a storm. And in fact, why not talk about the books you've just read? Share some books and do a book reading with each other. Interesting points of something that is currently relevant in the world. Cancer, anything sentimental. Food, anything lovely. Maybe you want to read poetry to each other. Something heartfelt. Okay, Leo, you need theatrics. You absolutely need theatrics. We know you. We love you. We always love you, Leo. So what might you do? And as I'm doing this, can you tell me if these resonate? Just go on the Facebook site and let me know if they resonate with you. So, Leo, you know, you could be somewhere social distance, sit outside and show Hamilton, live stream Hamilton on a channel. or live stream some other theatrics, or maybe act out parts in your favorite plays. Do something theatrical. Be ready to sort of show up. Make sure you comb your mane, because we do love your mane. Virgo, just skip all that romantic stuff. Yeah, I mean, we know you like romance, but yeah, just skip it. See if you can take a class. Is there an outside painting class? Somewhere you can social distance. Cooking classes are obviously going to be more difficult, but you know what you could do? You could both get on Zoom and be in your kitchens and try a recipe together where you're both cooking and tasting and sharing ideas. It's about learning. It's about doing. It's about something that makes you feel like you've accomplished something. There was some meaning to this. How's that working for you? Nobody's saying anything. It's so sad. Libra, we know what you like. You love museums. You have a beautiful aesthetic. If we want to talk about elegance, and elegance meaning a perfect expression of who you are, Libras know how to do that. Can you get together and do a virtual tour of the Louvre or the Museum of Modern Art or any museum? Can you get together and do that? It's amazing what you can live stream. If you're uncomfortable leaving your home, can you simultaneously stream it and talk about it? There are still things you can do. And yeah, I still think you got to get together. At some point, you got to see each other. Okay, so Scorpios out there, you're just tapping your foot. I can tell you're all sitting back in your chair, tapping. So what exactly do you expect a Scorpio to do while social distancing? I have to tell you, I've had more fun doing phone sex with Scorpios than any other sign. And yeah, guys, we know you all like sex, regardless of your sign. Scorpios, you take it to an art. Can I just say that? And some of us like that. You take it to an art, and so you can share that on a date. Can you read Anna Isnin to each other on a date? You could just try phone sex. I guess you could meet somewhere where you're sitting social distancing and try basically phone sex, right? Be a little creative here. Now, okay, Scorpio, don't try that with perhaps a Virgo. Maybe don't try that with some of these other signs. But a little give and take here, right? A little romance, a little, things that are more intellectually stimulating. I think you can find a way to make this work. Because that book, again, let's go back to that. Your love language, it's about the other person. It's not about you. So it's about that other person. So figure that out. Sagittarius, we gotta love you guys. Any adventure. I right now feel worse for my Sagittarius friends than anyone, because adventures are hard to come by. It's hard to get on a plane and go somewhere. And Sagittarians are the adventurers, the gypsies of the zodiac, which means they tell great stories. How about a storytelling night? How about planning your next adventure? How about sharing some videos about places you'd love to go and thinking about what you can do this time next year? Sharing old adventures with people. And especially, this is not show people your slides of your last vacation. Don't do that. But share the stories, and then let the other person share theirs too. Great way to connect. Capricorn, this is perfect for you because Caps, one of the things we love about you is you're fiscally conservative. You like to do things that are less expensive and more meaningful. It's a good time to go for a walk together. Maybe go to, again, art museums are great, but maybe go to botanical gardens. Maybe wander through a downtown and look at the architecture. Maybe do something online where you do the same thing, right? Maybe take a class on building things because you like to build things. I've never met a Capricorn who didn't like to do things with his hands. Build things. Maybe you do something really fun. You get a few Lego sets, and then you do Lego contests. What can you do? Who can build the best Lego thing? Or, any of those old sets where you just built something and you can laugh about how you're building things together. You can do that at a park. Aquarius, okay, I have to say, I'm an Aquarius sun, Aquarius moon, for those of you who are astrologers out there. And if you're wondering what that Scorpio piece is, I have a Scorpio rising and Saturn in Scorpio on my ascendant, which made no sense to most of you, but there's a few of you who went, oh, that explains a few things. Okay, Aquarians, go look at the stars. And in fact, I want to do this. I'm trying to gather some friends that we can, at the dark of the moon in September, go to a place and spread out from each other and look at the Milky Way. That's my goal for this year, to get that done. One of my goals. Take an Aquarian somewhere that's different, that's unusual, that isn't a normal date. Just be ready to bring your apps, you know, the stargazing apps that we have, and identify the planets and the stars, and maybe have some stories about them. Sag and Aquarius, you would have a great time doing this, just saying. That person, the Sag tells the story, the Aquarius does the identifying. It's wonderful, beautiful. Okay, Pisces, romance, romance, romance. Something, bring a romantic book. Read poetry to each other. I know I said that about Cancer, but honestly, Pisces, you want it quiet and calm. And I honestly think if you added a few tarot cards, you'd be really, really happy. Okay, so thoughts on a Leo-Sag relationship. Lenny, yes, thank you for asking. You know, again, we're looking at the sun signs. That's actually a lovely match, a Leo-Sag. And the reason is the Leo likes to be appreciated. The Sag loves adventure. We both have these fiery energies, and it's actually lovely. I'd want to run your charts and see what else connects. But yeah, on first look, yeah, it's a beautiful connection. And I can run those charts. So just another plug here, because we're coming to the end of our time. And astrology just by sun sign leaves out so much. Imagine taking a Myers-Briggs and knowing where you are an introvert and an extrovert. It leaves out so much. Or maybe taking a strengths inventory and just getting one of those pieces. Or maybe you look at somebody's profile and all you get to know is their brown hair, brown eye. It leaves out the rest of the story. Reading your sun sign can be like reading the first page and the last page of a novel, with nothing in between. The in-between, the richness, is where you want to talk to an astrologer, where you want to talk to me. So how do you find me? AlisaRobin.com is my website. Robin is spelled with a Y. AlisaRobin@msn.com. That's my email. You can find me here. You can go on Facebook. You can direct message me. You can post in the Facebook site and ask me questions, and I can connect with you there. I'm actually also on Instagram and LinkedIn. You can find me there. I'm easy to find, and I'm easy to work with, and I have packages. Like I said, you can do a soul session, which is about 90 minutes. You can do a package focused 3-hour spread out package focused on money, your relationship with money, your branding, if you're an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur, your career choices, anything to do with that. We can have a 3 package based on love. I also have an SOS package, which might also be called a WTF package, where you need to know what's going on in your life and you need to talk to somebody, and we can do an hour. So you can find me. And you can find me here. And in fact, we're out of time. You did find me here. I had so much fun, and I hope you did too. I want you to consider joining me every other week, Thursday at 11, here on KUHS Denver The Stream. I also want you to please, please, please join me the 3rd Monday of the month at 2:30 here at KUHS Denver The Stream. Let's try that again, KUHS Denver The Stream. And ask me those questions, because I do live readings. You can ask me astrology questions, though it's a little tricky to run your chart. But you can just ask me questions, which is just so fun. And I will have all my crystal balls with me. So for today, thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned, because oh my gosh, this is an amazing radio station. You need to stay tuned and listen to the music and everything after me. And stay healthy, stay well, fall in love with yourself, because when you do, somebody will fall in love with you. And have a really, really great rest of the week. Thanks again for joining me. I will talk to you next week.